Good morning, everybody. I'm out here in the camper, my coffee. Hope all's well with everybody. Hey, I know I mentioned, you know, I was going to go over some things on how to make some extra money. Um, I don't know how interesting this is, but if for any reason you need to make some extra money, I got a few ways of doing it. I don't even know where to start. There's a lot of ways, but um, a lot of it will entail probably, depending on how many tools and things you've got. But there's uh, there's a lot of stuff that you can do that doesn't take a whole lot. Now, it depends on, you know, if you're mechanically inclined and if you're artistic. Um, you know, everything seems like it takes a little bit of money to get going. Now, of course, if you're an artist and you need money for paints and things like that, it costs a little bit to get set up. Now, if you were to take a little bit of time out of your day every day, set time aside for this new venture, and you don't cheat, and you just make sure you do that, you're going to end up, um, with a surplus of paints. Maybe you're great with writing, and you can write children's books or whatever. And I know this is all stuff that everybody's probably thought of, but keep it in the back of your mind, because I don't know who I'm talking to out there and what your abilities are. But I'll tell you, if you can do something after work or whatever, and it's not something you hate to do, it's going to be a lot easier to do it. So if you can find something that you love and you're passionate about, it's gonna take off a lot better. Anyway, a long time ago, I mean, I've been a mechanic. I was a mechanic for 27 years, auto mechanic, and I needed some extra money, and so I was doing some night jobs. I was working on like UPS trucks and things like that after work, and so I was always looking for some kind of a side gig, and maybe I'll call this portion of the YouTube video side gigs or something. I don't know, but anyway, I had picked up an account with a small business where I was living, um, and it was just to go in and clean. Okay, now it was like a real estate agency, a real small one, a family operated thing, and nobody. That's not a fun job. It's not anything anybody wanted to do, but hey, it worked for me, and I did it for a while. And to be honest, I just took my vacuum from my house and Windex and paper towels and whatever, and I went through and I cleaned the place for them, and worked out pretty good. And then they actually approached me and said, "Hey, we got some people that'd be interested if you are." And it doesn't take a whole lot, I mean, you can take to do that. You could put everything you need in a milk crate, pretty much. Put it in your car and go, and just tell them what days you need to come in and do that kind of stuff. And then I got a couple of contracts with some banks. Now, when I did that, they wanted liability insurance. I think it's called something else. Anyway, this is a long time ago, and I had to carry $1 million policy, which they says we need you to carry at least $1 million policy. And to be honest, I don't even know exactly what it was for. I guess if I stole something or broke something in the bank or whatever, it's not like they don't have everything all locked up. But I'd go in there and I'd vacuum the floors, um, clean off counters, empty trash cans, things like that. Um, but that $1 million insurance policy cost me like $30 a month. Now, Granted, you know, that was 100 years ago, and so I'm sure things have changed. You got to check into it, do all your research. But um, if you're fair and you were like, yeah, if I had a part time job and I was making $20 an hour or something like that, that'd get me through. Something like that. You're just gonna have to figure it, and you might screw yourself a couple times, but that's, it's like anything else. It's like education, learning anything is cost you. It's like going to college. You go to college trying to get a degree in things, and it costs you money. Um, this is like learning the ropes through hard knocks. So you you do learn, but try not to. Um, just try to figure out, how long it's going to take you to do it. And to be honest, one of the gigs that I did, I wasn't sure how to bid it out, and I asked him. I says, "Look, I says, this is what I do. Um, I'd like to clean your office um, the first time for free. See what you think. Um, I'll go over and make a list of things that I did, and that's what you could expect every week." And I did it for nothing. And so it wasn't for nothing. It was for me more than them. But it worked both ways. So you were doing them a favor by cleaning it for free, and they came in, they looked at it, and they were like, "Wow, you really did a good job," and and I had an idea of how long it took me to do it. And so I could say, "Well, I want $20 an hour or whatever it is, plus my, I went through a roll of paper towels and, whatever." And most of these places have their own garbage bags and, their own toilet paper and stuff like that. But yeah, like I said, it wasn't a glamorous job when you're cleaning toilets and stuff. But you find that, you can do some stuff with cleaners that is really good. Like I used to go in, I'll give you a little tip right here. I used to go in and there'd always be a ring in the toilet or something. It was kind of gross. And I always found that if I went in, flushed the toilet, and then laid toilet paper around the bolt on that ring, and then poured some bleach in the toilet, the bleach worked on that ring while I was doing the rest of the building. Okay, so I was gathering up trash and dusting and doing some window sills and things like that. And I always carried something that was like Febreze. I mean, it wasn't. It was something else, but and I bought that. That way, when they came in, it smelled different and clean and whatever. You could go in there and vacuum the place and do whatever, but it didn't leave a lasting impression. But anyway, that's what I did. And, of course, they did kind of was a little hesitant at first, that they didn't know who I was or anything like that. But so, they just stayed and let me clean, towards the end of the day. And I went home and I worked up a bid and I gave it to them. Now, that turned out to be a really good thing, and I got other business from it, and it worked out good. And I mean, this little tiny business, I mean, I called it the DOC, and it's Dixie Office Cleaning was the name of the business. But it kind of worked too because my grandfather, everybody knew him as Doc, so I went by that. And then come to find out, after I got a bunch of shirts made up and I was doing good, and I had DOC, Dixie Office Cleaning on it, everybody was like, "Oh, department," you know, like of corrections. So um, you got to be careful, whatever. Not that it mattered or anything, because the design, everything was different. But think things through. See if you can get in bed with somebody like that. I mean, you could go to a restaurant somewhere and they're just like, "Oh, we got so we take care of the kitchen part, whatever, but we don't want to do the bathrooms." They're like pulling straws, trying to who got the short straw, who cleans the bathroom, and for the price that I could do it for and be in and out of there in an hour, they were willing to pay it, and it worked out. And so you could have your own gig, and they'll tell you this thing blew up on me so big, so fast. And I mean, I was living in an area where it was growing, and you know everything has changed, but if you can get something going like that, I guarantee it. If you do a good job and you don't cut corners and you're friendly and you're a good person, um, it'll go a long ways. Matter of fact, I'd put in a contract for a new airport that was kind of coming in. I mean, they had one there in town, but they were going to build a big one. And um, I knew the guy, one of the people that were kind of high up at the, in that it was SkyWest Airlines and not Southwest. It was way smaller than that. But for me, it was a big deal, and it was, you know, I I think I was getting that contract. Now something came up in my life, and I had to get out of there. um, and so directions changed for me, and I'm glad I didn't get it. But I think I was getting that contract for that airport, and I was going to have to hire a bunch of people, and I mean this thing was going to be a big deal for me. And I always wondered how it would have worked. But anyway, back to the nuts and bolts of the thing. You can take almost anything and just kind of work your way in. If you go in, you find the right person, um, and just make sure you're talking and not wasting a bunch of time with uh, people that don't have the ability to pull the trigger on something like that. Find out who that is and approach them directly and just say, "Look, this is what I'm doing. Is wondering if you're interested." And like I say, start out small. Uh, go to like a real estate agency, or maybe um, you know any kind of a bank or something. They'll probably want you to have an insurance. Um, my wife she works part time, okay, just to keep her busy doing something, because during the slow parts of the times of the year and stuff, she goes nuts because she just doesn't have anything to do. But she, same thing. She works at a mill, and you know they're hiring somebody to come in and do the janitorial part of it too. And but they also um, acquire, they need them to come in with that insurance policy. Now I can't even remember what it's called, but check into it. And I mean, as long as you got a vacuum and you got a mop, and I mean, you're gonna have to figure it out, because every job will be a little bit different. But it doesn't take anybody special to do that kind of stuff, and you can make a lot of side money. And you'd be shocked, um, spending a couple hours, at nights. I got to the point where I was making as much cleaning stuff at night than I was full time as a mechanic. So, you know what I mean? I wasn't making crap money at the time either. I mean, I was doing okay. But um, just keep that in mind. I got a whole bunch of stuff like this that I've done. And of course, I've done so much stuff that I've had a lot of crash and burns too. But um, try to find something that would work for you. I mean, lawns, uh, people can do that stuff too. I mean, what does it take? Do you got a small truck, or even a car with a hitch on the back of it, and you can get a small open trailer and some lawnmowers, weed eaters. I mean, you're gonna have to invest some money, but if you already live in a house, you're probably taking care of your own stuff too. Um, I live in Idaho, so we get snow, we get a lot of it, and so um, in the springtime, everything's coming around, and people want aeration done on their yards, or fertilizer, or weed control, and you're weed eating, mowing, and it kind of fizzes out in the fall, and now you got all these leaves, and people, some every year somebody gets older or gets hurt, and they don't want to do it. It's too much for them. And so you got a new group of people every year that's going to want this done. If you do a good job, word of mouth, they're gonna recommend you to their friends and everybody else. And around here, there's snow removal. I mean, people are like, okay, yeah, hey, I'll salt, put down some ice melt. Make sure I mean, check your prices and making sure, um, and tell them when you do it. Say, look, I can get ice melt for this much, but who knows what the way things are. Things are going up every week. I might not be able to stick to that price, but I mean, just be honest with people, and they'll appreciate it. And yeah, do some snow removal. All it takes is a snow shovel. It depends on how good your back is, but uh, maybe you get a snow blower, and you're blowing snow in the winter for them, and then you're automatically back in taking care of their lawns if you do them a good job on the snow removal. You're back in next spring, and I mean, I worked the same thing. Got back into a business doing that, and I had a snowplow truck, so I had a pickup truck, a 4-wheel drive, and I put a plow on it, and I had some contracts with like Pizza Hut and a liquor store and a hearing aid place. And I mean, I used to just run around in my truck. My mom used to come with me because she was up early in the morning and nothing to do, and I'd call her up and she'd say, yeah, I'll go. So she would brew up a thermos of coffee for us, and off we'd go, man. 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, we were out plowing snow. It was fun. um, you know it's it's what it is, like I said. um, and some of it's work, and some of it all has to do with your abilities. But I'll touch on a few things, um, and see if it helps anybody. And I got some pretty good stuff because I'm old and I've done a lot of stuff, and it's you know me and Jesus and Moses went to school together. And uh, you learn a few things. Will they apply to you? I don't know. Just, I guess, stick around, listen, and see if it's something you can do. But anyway, I hope you guys all have a great day, and we'll talk to you later. See you.